The first short track on this season's SNT schedule is a short track brand new to the iRacing platform. Never before have we seen this league head to this circuit. Welcome to Kevin Harvick's Kern County Raceway for a 150-lap feature brought to you tonight by Refined Engineering. The Saturday Night Thunder Championship moves on with 2 winners in 2 races, and we'll see whether or not that parity prevails tonight as qualifying is on the move for tonight's event. I'll be your host for tonight's broadcast, David Kreutz, commentating and producing, and we welcome you aboard to an FTN doubleheader. The HCBB League's IPU playing tonight, Game 7 of their series, and it's going to be race number 3 on the schedule here for Saturday Night Thunder. Qualifying, as we mentioned, is currently underway with 3 minutes remaining for drivers to set a time. As it stands, Vinny Tigner going to find himself on the pole position. Carter Casey getting up into 4th, and right now it looks like 9 drivers have taken a lap. Dana Van Meter up into 7th, and no other driver currently on the circuit attempting to take a time except for Michael Deitch. Most of these drivers have never had experience with this track and car combination, except for the man who's on the pole position. That's an interesting story. We'll break it down more tonight. But for Kern County, this is the very first time SNT's had the chance to go there, and it looks like drivers, for the most part, have adapted well. We had just about an hour of practice before this qualifying session got started, so lap times are overall very similar for the leading contending drivers. You can see top 5 is separate by only 95 one-thousandths. Now, for HKR, they have 3 drivers, and this is one of which, Michael Deitch, the one and only attempting to take a lap time. Everyone else has gone on track at least once. It looks like Tyler Seaver and Scott Erickson have decided not to head onto the circuit. Tonight, Deitch has 2 teammates he'll be working with, one of which is inside the top 5. That's Henry Kaloff, and then there's going to be Matthew Fastnot, who wasn't able to set a lap, and it looks like Michael Deitch one and done, and he will conclude his qualifying run at moving up into 8th here. So we're waiting on 2 more drivers to maybe take a chance, but otherwise, majority of our qualifying grid is set up here in Bakersfield, California, and since we have some time, let's talk about this track. Half a mile in length, but it doesn't quite look like the other circuits of its size. You can see very wide, moderately high banking, and almost like a smaller Richmond. This will give drivers the opportunity to work on the high side with momentum, barrel it down low, or try to stay in between. Expect multi-groove racing to be dominant tonight, and for the most part anyway, we've seen it this season. These are some of the most versatile cars in all of stock car racing, and they perform well regardless of where we go. You can see, given the fact that it's a short circuit, maybe of course the exact length of Martinsville and Bristol, you'd imagine it to be narrower and smaller, but no, Kern County giving a lot of drivers good racing room, and that's going to be the story of who's able to succeed tonight. We went to 5 Flags, which was our last SNT short track race. It was Vinny Tigner among many others battling, but overall it was Jordan Kuntz, the man who got the win, and he was able to do so by means of working the tire strategy. We had 1 caution at the halfway point, which was not intentional, but instead it was, unfortunately anyway, a caution for an incident. Then Kuntz was able to get back on the way, and so he took the victory. 15 seconds left now in qualifying, and it looks like now qualifying has been concluded. Tigner won once last season, his only win so far of the year, and it's the number 12 machine back on top, the number 12 winning the pole position by 12 one-thousandths of a second. This session has concluded, and Vinny Tigner moves up to the top of the charts, grabbing the pole here in Kern County. 5 minutes here for final warm-up, and it's going to be Vinny Tigner up to the top of the board. Massive success for the number 12 team to start up in front. Track position tends to work out quite well for drivers. When you start up front, you usually stay up front. We'll discuss more about Vinny Tigner's experience at this circuit. He knows a thing or two about what it takes to succeed and fail all at once here in Kern County. At the top of the board, he'll be for tonight's qualifying overall from top to bottom. Let's go through the list and figure out who starts where with, of course, our starting grid for tonight's race. The Refined Engineering 150 will see Vinny Tigner jumped up to the top of the board in the pole position, and Kenneth Gurrell then going to be second. It's a gap of 12 one-thousandths between your front row drivers. Jordan Kuntz comes in the points leader 5 points ahead of his championship rival in Matthew Weeks. Weeks is not here tonight, it appears, so it might be a major points day for Kuntz if he can execute well. He'll be starting in third alongside Carter Casey, who is there in position number 4. Gap between your second row drivers is also going to be rather tight, coming in at only 13 one-thousandths of a second. Then you got 5th place in Henry Kaloff and Alec Daffin in 6th. Dana Van Meter is going to be 7th, and Michael Deitch starting 3 spots away from his HKR teammate. He's in 8th. 9th and 10th tonight, you'll have the rookie in that number 73. It's Aaron Sayer in 9th and Dylan Wheeler in 10th. 23.89 lap for Dylan Wheeler. He struggled, but nonetheless able to make his way up to the top 10 here in qualifying. 11th place, and then on back, drivers who decided not to take laps. Jackson Von Pelt going to be in the 11th, and Chris Tripp will be in 12th, with Connor Asbell then 13th, and Scott Erickson in the 14th position. Tyler Seaver tonight, we do not have Roger on course, the starting grid, and it's going to be Tyler holding fort for the family, the number 77 inside of row number 8 and 15th, and the 16th and last driver for Henry Kaloff Racing, Matthew Fastnot in the 0-9. 8 rows and 16 drivers compose tonight's starting grid here in the Kern County Raceway, and Vinny Tigner comes through winning the pole position for tonight's event. Now, less than 5 minutes from seeing the green flag, drivers are taking their final warm-up laps, and Henry Kaloff ends up in the wall. Michael Deitch now going to be racing against Dana Van Meter here. Let's take a lap on board with Dana, who was not able to successfully get a time on the board, and see what's going on now inside the cockpit of that number 27. Cutting down to the inside while Michael Deitch decides to go right up top. Both of these drivers here experimenting with the multiple grooves that are available in this circuit. If you want to save tire, you can of course go up to the high side. If you want to cut down low, be a little bit more aggressive, the bottom groove is there for you. And I think a lot of drivers will approach this, if any other short track comes as reference, Iowa and Richmond. Notably, of course, Richmond being the more popular of the two, going to give these drivers a little bit more experience coming in rather than being completely blindsided, which I'm sure that's not at all what they'd want. Now tonight, we'll see whether or not that experience comes in handy or if it's going to be a whole new experience. Fastnot goes around rather quickly there, and the 0-9, you have to back it down and head down a pit road as a result. Meanwhile, it looks like now Tyler, one of the only drivers on the circuit leading this session, is Dylan Wheeler, then Henry Kaloff, and Kenneth Gurrell. All but 3 drivers are on track right now: Asbell, Casey, and Alec Daffin, the rest of which have at least attempted to get off a pit road and set a lap. There's Matthew there once again, and Dana Van Meter running in 7th, making it down through 3 and 4 on the bottom side, and nobody else to race with as Michael Deitch is headed down and in. Drivers' speeds, as you can see on the bottom left of your screen, not the quickest tonight, but they'll be barreling around the corners, giving them enough momentum to put the power back quickly, up to about 120 some miles an hour before heading into the corners once again, only losing about 40 odd miles an hour, then making a move, as at the stripe, Dana comes around for a 19.394 second lap. Jackson Van Pelt going to be 4th now, with 7 seconds remaining, and not much more the 0-7 can do, as he's going to come across the back straight, and to no avail. Dylan Wheeler, fastest driver in final practice here, and so practice and qualifying have officially concluded. Number 22, Wheeler, fastest on the board by 59 one-thousandths of a second. His quick time coming in at 18.99 seconds on the board. Checkered flag now waving, and drivers will be lining up on the starting grid to open the night. 150 laps here in Kern County awaits, and so the field gets settled in for all of tonight's racing. Kenneth Gurrell now on the front row, and awaiting him on the inside of the number 57, it's going to be Vinny Tigner. Carter Casey running very strong in the last short track race we had, able to come through with a podium at 5 Flags on his return racing, the first of many that he's run this season while coming back on a full-time basis in 2024's second season. Jordan Kuntz leads the championship over Matthew Weeks tonight, and with no Matthew, it's a big opportunity to gain in the championship. Unlike what we've seen throughout the openings of previous seasons, Jordan Kuntz might not be the clear and away quickest driver. He already has that win at Auto Club to back him up on for the early portion, but there's a lot of competitive drivers. Tigner, Daffin, Wilkerson, you saw David Tooker coming in. Vinny Tigner also quick as well. It's not going to be easy this season as the field lines up once again, and Vinny Tigner is there on the pole. Everyone is now on the starting grid together, and the iRacing official pace car is going to get out of neutral, grab a gear for the first time tonight, and bring these drivers around for 2 final laps until we go green. Weather tonight going to be relatively moderate for all drivers. Taking a look at the circuit, 78 degrees Fahrenheit overall, and it's going to be a track temperature of 79 degrees Fahrenheit. So the difference, minimal. Partly cloudy skies, but little sunshine overall with a relative humidity of 45%. If there's anything that's going to burn up the tires, it will be that humidity coming into play. But the track temp right now, relatively low. And as long as these drivers don't burn their stuff up too quickly, it should stay that way for the majority of the night. Winds are going to be northbound at a mile an hour, so they will play very little role in how these drivers perform. It'll come down to the humidity and the sun is setting tonight. As you can see, very little sunshine left on the track, and we might go fully into the nighttime sky by the time all is said and done here tonight. Drivers are now making it into the back straightaway, and with them, Vinny Tigner in the field will go. Strategy going to be coming down to tires and fuel tonight. We're expecting that tire degradation to end up becoming much larger when the track gets worn in, but fuel could go 2 ways. 2-stop strategy or the 1-stop strategy, both of which are viable options, but the winning strategy, if possible, would be the 1-stopper. And drivers hope to go 75 laps to kick things off, then finish it off with another 75-lap stint, something we've seen before on FTN Kern County Raceway. Both times we've gone to it, first-time winners in their respective series. In the Highline Racing League, Chad Winstead got the win, and in the Integrity Racing League, Chad Mikas got it done. We don't have a Chad in the field tonight, so we'll have to leave it to another name and another driver to get the win, but as the pace car lays low, Vinny Tigner will get the jump on the inside line. Up top, going to be Kenneth Gurrell, and we are going green flag racing here from Bakersfield, California. A little bit of sliding down on the bottom side. It looks like everyone stays straight for the most part. Contact further on back. Leaders will prevail. Jackson Van Pelt going to be involved in a little bit of shuffling back and forth. Looked like Dylan Wheeler sliding just a bit. And Matthew Fastnot now going to be all the way back to the tail end of the field, running in dead last. And you'll see him there in the number 09. Scott Erickson going to remain side by side with him. And so it looks like the battle will rage on. Overall at the front of the field, Vinny Tigner's got himself the lead, and Jordan Kuntz going to hang right behind him here. 1-2 for the veterans of the field, and third place going to be Henry Kaloff, looking for his chance in victory lane, which would be his first this year. Last SNT win he got came in Talladega, late 2023. Checkered flag in the plate circuit is all he's got to his name so far, but clearly top 5 pace to kick off the night. Qualified in 5th, up 2 spots so far, and a nice jump over Kenneth Gurrell, and Carter Casey moves him now to the 3rd position. And so the field going to settle down to kick off this race. A little bit of 2x2 in the back, but otherwise the leaders of the field have remained as calm as it comes. Dylan Wheeler and Jackson Van Pelt now going to be going at each other, and it looks like Jackson's got the advantage. He utilized the high side there and got away from the number 22. Moreover, Aaron Sayer, the rookie in the number 73, now runs right behind Michael Deitch. Michael's gotten up to 11th here, and it looks looks like for the YMCA of Long Island team, they're up just beyond the top 10, and it would have to be a pass on Connor Asbell to make it so. Connor right now going to be intense. Then you have 9th and Dylan Wheeler, and 8th and Jackson Van Pelt and Dana Van Meter just ahead, as now Jordan Kuntz takes the race lead from Vinny Tigner, and Vinny going to have to drop down to the inside once again, sticking his nose into it. He wants a chance and an opportunity to take the race lead back, but to no avail, and the 99 holds it up on the high side. Using that middle groove to get better momentum out of the corners seems to be the trick of the trade right now for the 99 of Kuntz, and Jordan again, he's got it up in front, and now Henry Kaloff might be preying on the signs of weakness the number 12 is showing, and you can see here, Kaloff, 3rd, 4th place, going to be Kaloff for no longer. Kenneth Gorell decides to get behind, and Carter Casey rounds out the top 5. Alec Daffin now facing some pressure from Dana Van Meter. Dana dropping to the inside groove yet again. Up top, Jackson Van Pelt's going. He got by Dylan Wheeler, and now Dana's going to be the next up. Up high goes the 07, and a rather quick maneuver puts the 07 team up into position number 7. With that being said, it looks like now up next is going to be Alec Daffin. Perhaps the battleground goes to the number 48, and Daffin's going to have to begin defending here as Jackson looks to the bottom side. Jackson Van Pelt quickly able to get up to the backside of Alec Daffin, but to no avail so far during these last few laps. It looks like he's gotten himself into a similar rhythm as Alec, and their lap times have been nearly identical. They've gone down to the 11,000th of a second gap lap after lap between the two. Meanwhile, Dylan Wheeler now going to have Connor Asbell all over him, and Dana Van Meter falling back as well. Connor looking for a chance to get inside the single digits. He drops low to the number 22's inside, but Wheeler has it better and comes out the corner much stronger, holding fort without really much competition there from the 72 so far. Connor hangs back, holds it well together, and he's got a very calm steering wheel in mind. Doesn't want to make any erratic moves so early into this race, knowing we still have a lot of time to go. 14 laps have gone by quickly, but it doesn't mean the rest of this race will either. So being patient, remaining calm, that's the biggest factor, and I think you'll see that more up in the front of the field as a matter of fact here. Looking at the gaps, the number 57 of Kenneth Gorell, there's the 63 of Henry Kaloff, and the number 12 of Vinny Tigner. All of which right now, just a few tenths of a second from one another. They can see the driver in front of them, they can see the driver behind, but right now the priority is not necessarily making those moves. In all honesty, it comes down more than anything to just remaining in sight. If there's a mistake, go for the opportunity, take advantage of it, but right now there's a lot of time from even our first pit cycle here. Don't waste what you got, do not burn out your equipment, stay put together. That's the biggest deal of all. And right now, the back half of the field showing a little bit of a different mentality. Michael Deitch right there, quickly going to be passed by the number 50. Scott Erickson makes it by. That's going to be Scott moving up into the 13th spot. Not a bad way to get things going at number 50 as he keeps moving and now tries to get up to Chris Tripp. Chris Tripp's number 90 comes back in the Night Owl paint scheme variant. Interesting story that brings us all the way back to Five Flags once again. Chris Tripp replaced in that event. He was ill, unfortunately could not race, and he ended up being a swap-out driver. And overall what happened was, inside the cockpit that day, I believe, was Connor Asbell. And Connor got the opportunity to get a hot start, and he made his move up in front immediately. And all of a sudden, he was able to jump up to the race lead and held off Jordan Kuntz for the first half of the event. Now, the problem was, of course, pit strategy caught him out and he fell back, but the number 90 machine getting its best ever run at Five Flags. Now with Chris Tripp behind the wheel, he's unfortunately still in the back half, but the Night Owl knows a thing or two about getting it done at these short circuits. Five Flags even smaller than where we are tonight. Kern County giving a lot more racing room, and right now everyone getting in that nice rhythm. It goes to show you really no panic throughout the pack. Dana Van Meter going to be just ahead of Dylan Wheeler. It looks like Dylan now falling back into 9th, and Connor Asbell not yet able to take advantage of those who are in front of him. Closest two drivers on the circuit going to be 2nd and 3rd now, Henry Kaloff and Vinny Tigner. HKR is now a 3-car team in this series, and they've expanded that much bigger than they were before. Overall, the checkered flag is what they're aiming for, and Henry Kaloff knows a thing or two about being close this week to race wins. First off, talking about his performance on Thursday night in the OSRL Premier Series, broadcasted by Second Split, and he was in that event into the final 5 laps in contention for the race victory. Unfortunately, not able to get the job done, and oh so close, but wrecked out in the very last moments of the race. And just a night ago, in a truck race at Talladega, able to get it done in the Golden Eagle Racing Series. It was a photo finish. Trucks at Talladega seemed to be one of Henry Kaloff's strong suits, and he was able to get the job done in a 3-wide race to the line. And HKR, off the back of that victory, and of course coming together as a 3-car team this season, they're big, and they are looking to show they're back in action, looking for wins. Started today in 5th, up to 3rd, up 2 spots on the day so far. Henry Kaloff has remained an early threat, an early but consistent one at that, for a podium, and maybe a little bit more as the night goes on here. So he'll stay behind the number 12 of Tigner, and Henry Kaloff holds fort in the 3rd spot. Dylan Wheeler still going to be here in 9th, and Dana Van Meter just ahead, driving a quite different line. As we come back to look at this middle of the pack battle, I think that's the emphasis these drivers have to place. If they want to succeed, they've got to do things a little bit differently. Both drivers going to be running relatively low through turns 1 and 2, but I think Dylan Wheeler preferring to be a little bit higher, perhaps half a groove higher coming out of the corner than where Dana is, and you can see it now, both of which going up high, but Dylan Wheeler getting a little bit closer to the upper wall, not afraid to maybe make some minor contact or get a scrape or two, and trying to push to the outer limit of what these drivers can afford. That's what of course has to be done if you're someone like Dylan Wheeler. He hasn't been able to make up much time so far. He already has a few scrapes, and overall he started in 10th, made it up to 9th, and even got to as high as 8th, but he's dropped back once again, up 1 position on the day, but can't quite find anything else out of it so far. And it looks like Dana Van Meter stealing his thunder a little bit, taking a spot up to 8th and remaining there as it stands. Every driver going to be on the lead lap, going back to Tyler Sevier, who is in the 11th position no longer. He's down to 16th, and Matthew Fastnot is going to be in 15th. There was only one little scuffle to kick off the night, which was that opening lap back and forth in the tail end of the field, but otherwise everyone else got off nicely, and that's given us this nice and clean opening stint to kick off the race. Henry Kaloff still a quarter of a second back now on Vinny Tigner. Let's take a ride on board now with the 63 and see what exactly he's doing. The gap between the top 3 remains, give or take, just 1 second. And the last 4 laps will show you the close range between those up in front and those a little bit further back. Kaloff, though, isn't quite far back at all. Quite the opposite, honestly. He's remained consistently just 1 second behind. Over the last 4 laps, he's gained a single hundredth of a second. That gain really doesn't mean anything much. Maybe it's all about trying to reel Jordan Kuntz in with even more patience, and you can see this time by definitely a gain from Henry Kaloff, and that time by from 0.97 to 1.1. The difference is not clear for Kaloff, but it'll be a little bit clear here for Vinny Tigner. Let's see what he can do this time by, as overall timing and scoring reporting a little bit differently on the timing tower up top compared to what you're seeing here. Still within a second, Tigner at the line right there from 0.95 behind, goes a little bit closer, 0.94. So you can see an 0.8 of a second gap, turn over turn, segment segment over segment, but at the line, the numbers are clear. Vinny Tigner, while close, doesn't quite have it yet, and he's still got Henry Kaloff right behind, keeping things tight, regardless of that distance. We got these lappers now. Michael Deitch has even fallen further back. He's in 16th, and it looks like Michael with a little bit of a scuffle of his own right, and he's gone all the way to the tail end. Nothing else he can do now but try to reel it back in. HKR running third, and then 14th and 16th. So Henry Kaloff carrying the banner well right now, but it looks like his teammates really haven't done all too much else, not given too much help at the front of the board. And it's going to be Dana Van Meter now in the mid-pack with Dylan Wheeler 9th, and Connor Asbell maybe slowly reeling in. Wheeler just ahead of him, looking for 9th. And let's see right now whether or not he can finally end up in the single digits. Connor Asbell has been waiting. He's been eyeing the opportunity, but he hasn't quite got there yet. And the question is now, can his racing line change, maybe assist him in making the move up in front? He's gotten closer, lap over lap now, and you can see running that middle groove, Dylan Wheeler is going to adapt and go a little bit higher. Just not enough yet. Wheeler has a little bit of scraping damage so far. Up and down the track, he's gone a little bit further than most everyone else, but Connor Asbell maybe just does not have the pace. 39 laps in, out of 150, just about halfway in this opening stint, and if pit road is going to open, we might see it do so as early as lap number 50, so 10 laps from now, 10-15, you might see drivers for the very first time coming down and in for the safe two-stop strategy. Doesn't mean that's going to be the winning strategy, mind you, but maybe some drivers are going to go down and in who are not comfortable with the way their car is handling and decide to take a little bit of a break, get some new rubber on, and hope for a yellow flag. Now, no signs of a caution so far, but the alternate strategy could be what a driver needs to eventually get into victory lane. Let's talk about some former races here at Kern County on FTN, and you take a look at the man on your screen, and just ahead of Henry Kaloff, there is Vinny Tigner. Tigner and Carter Casey alike, well, both of them have experience in the Integrity Ignite series, and they race in that Monday night series broadcast also only on FTN, and with that experience, they went to Kern County just about 2 months ago. That race, it didn't admittedly go well for Vinny Tigner, and that's why it's almost entirely ironic he's up in front right now. Although Vinny Tigner was in that event and has some prior experience, he was the first driver on the day to retire. Ended up 40 laps down in a race that overall went 160 laps rather than 150. Vinny Tigner finished in 26th, so not the best run for him. Chad Mikas was eventually able to get the race win for Domination Intimidation Racing, and Tigner not able to fare well. As a matter of fact, one of his worst races of the season. We had 4 cautions on that day, 19 laps under yellow, 6 lead changes, and 5 race leaders. Vinny Tigner not able to be one of them that night, simply could not put the power down and perform. However, here looks like a complete turnaround, and that experience definitely helping him out. Every time we've gone to Kern County, yellow flag is flown, and it just did here for Dana Van Meter. Yellow flag is out for Dana, and the 27 going to go spinning. Caution is out. Let's get an instant replay on the matter and figure out just what happened. Caution in the middle of the field here. Dana in the number 27. That's what's going to bring it out. And it looked like a single car incident. No additional contact here. Going into the bottom of the circuit, Dylan Wheeler coming with. Wheeler bumps the 27. Little bit of a skid. Not even a full spin. And luckily, Dana with no additional damage. But nevertheless, that's the first yellow flag of the day. 46 laps in out of 150. Drivers now heading down a pit road. And this might mean it's a 2-stop race for the win. Vinny Tigner now going to be down and in. As we take a look back at the live feed, here's Tigner getting 4 sets of tire, of course 4 tires for rubber, and some fuel to top off. Jordan Kuntz gets the race lead again, then Tigner, then Henry Kaloff, and Alec Daffin there. He's in 4th. Top 5 going to be concluded thereafter by Kenneth Gurrell, although 3 drivers decided to stay out this time by. Take a look up in front. Matthew Fastnot has decided to stay out on the circuit. Dylan Wheeler as well, and it looks like now he's made his way in. Connor Asbell was one of the drivers who additionally tried to stay out 1 extra, and Matthew, well, he's decided to stay out multiple laps extra here with 48 laps on the books. A few laps until we go back green once again. We're going to get a word from our friends at iRacing Motorsport Simulations in as we have a little bit of time in between the racing action, and we'll be back before we get back into the green flag swing of things. You're watching here live on FTN from the virtual Kern County Raceway, and if we have some time, and let's see if the iRacing pace car gives us that time. If not, no advertisements, we will stay completely uninterrupted. And it looks like the call on the field, 1 to green. Let's stay without interruptions here. Matthew Fastnot is deciding to stay out on the track, and Jordan Kuntz will be up top. 49 laps in for Fastnot. He's got much older tires. Hopefully that doesn't cause a lot of problems. This could be bad news, but maybe it might be the best thing that's gone for Matthew so far. As the pace car lets us go, for the first time tonight, Matthew Fastnot is at the front of the field, leading his HKR teammate and the rest of the pack behind him. Oh, this is trouble already. Oh, goodness. Matthew Fastnot destroyed by Jordan Kuntz. Yellow flags out, and with old tires, luckily no one else got hurt. Yellow flags out for Matthew Fastnot, and the tire squealing really going to destroy him there, crab walking and all. The 09 is pulverized. Horrible damage. And he got left hooked right up the circuit. We're going to take a look back, see who's really at fault here. And it looks like the 09 was running right straight. Jordan Kuntz. And up the top of the track, it looks like Fastnot began to slide. Kuntz was turning in. Fastnot was turning up. And that's what comes of it. And you can see there, Jordan Kuntz, no choice but to dispose of the 09, sending him up top. Horrible for the 09 of Fastnot there, but it looks like the old rubber gave out rather quickly. Taking a look back one more time with Jordan Kuntz here for his on board as that wreck went down. So Fastnot gets the jump on the inside groove, and Jordan Kuntz going to be up top, and you can see there, both drivers collide. The 09 goes right upstairs, and he gets smacked up. Rest of the field able to avoid it, but Fastnot's day is done on the basis of that incident. Yellow flag for the second caution of the day, and the old tires, well, we now learn that is not the right way to go. Jordan will be given back his position, and for the time being, it looks like that will be deemed a racing incident. So not going to be at fault, the driver, the 99. It looks like Fastnot went up the circuit, and he will be at blame for what just occurred. Vinny Tigner, nevertheless, is going to have the race lead now in his hands yet again. Jordan Kuntz going to be second, and Henry Kaloff is there in third. Alec Daffin, Kenneth Gurrell, and all those behind the number 99 have just gotten one position, gained right back as a result of Fastnot now being 2 laps down, and unfortunately, that looks to be his night. 2 laps to green now, 54 laps in out of 150, your second yellow flag, and hopefully this time by, we get out of this little slump, shall we say, green flag laps and return for a longer stint. Gonna go green at lap number 56 now. Less than 100 laps remaining after a little bit of a scuffle there between 2 drivers, the 99 and the 09. Fastnot and Kuntz getting involved. Rest of the pack gets away. Matthew right now gonna be back on the track. And it looks like taking the one and only fast repair he has, he's going to be able to return here and keep things moving despite all that damage. So Matthew at the tail end of the field here. Nevertheless, we will keep on moving, and it will be Vinny Tigner up and in front. Next beside him, Jordan Kuntz yet again, and all the drivers on their new set of rubber are once again back in the prime position to go for the race win. Pace car drops to the inside. Vinny Tigner going to be on the bottom, and Jordan Kuntz right up top for restart number 2. Alec Daffin notably makes his way inside the top 5 as we go green once again. Tigner down low, and it'll be Alec Daffin right up top. Vinny going to have a minor disadvantage on the inside now, and it looks like that high side is working. Up to the high side, the number 99 is gone on this restart, and with them, former teammate Alec Daffin. Maybe both drivers now able to pull a minor gap. Tucking down to the bottom side, though, the 12 will hold fort. Now Alec Daffin going to be lonely in that second row of drivers. Henry Kaloff trying to fend off the 07, but the most important story remains that up in front. Jordan Kuntz looking for what will be his second win on the season, and it would be the first for Vinny Tigner, and Vinny is staying right there on the bottom, not trying to give this one up, and it looks like now for Jordan Kuntz working top side yet again. He'll just have the advantage again and again and again off the corner, no matter what Vinny tries to do here, but Vinny will keep trying down to the bottom. Jordan up top, deciding to keep it side by side, and it looks like still that's where they remain. Alec Daffin has the best view in the house right now. Take a ride on board with the 48, and you can see now it looks like Jordan Kuntz nearly fully clear, but Vinny Tigner has one thing going for him, sending it to the inside and trying to get that nice run down the back straight. Been together now, side by side for the better part of 5 laps. Vinny Tigner hut himself down low, cutting to the bottom and staying right there. The 99 all the way up to the top side, and it looks like he'll drive down to that second groove. Second lane has been working out for him well. A little bit more momentum, but not enough to really seal the deal. Now Vinny to the bottom side yet again, taking it almost down to the paint. Not done yet, and it looks like Vinny's, in fact, just getting started. Both drivers are on the exact same playing field, and it looks like now Vinny Tigner is just going to have to slip back a little bit further as Jordan Kuntz runs off the top side, neck and neck even still. And it looks like Jordan Kuntz tonight has definitely met his match. Hasn't quite been able to get around just yet, but he's been using that second groove effectively, and this is what we talk about when it comes to multi-groove racing. As it stands now, Jordan Kuntz has still not been able to find his way fully around, but that most likely comes due to the fact that the track temperature is not really all too warm. Even still right now, take a look at the numbers. As it stands, air temperature is going to be coming in at 78, and the track temp has gone up to 81. So nothing too egregious so far, which means all the lanes have been spread out relatively evenly, but Jordan Kuntz just got on his way, and here goes the number 99 making his way around, and at the stripe, it's now going to be the 99 back on top. It's going to be the number 99, the number 12, and the 48, your top 3. How about Alec Daffin up to 3rd once again, and as low as 6th in this early run. He's now back up inside the podium, and it looks like gaining 3 spots as he's gotten by Henry Kaloff, Jackson Van Pelt alike, and more to come here as the race progresses if he wants to keep on making moves to get up into the race-leading fight. Top 2 drivers are definitely going to be more spread out right now, and you can see Carter Casey in 8th, Aaron Sire in 9th, and Dylan Wheeler going to be position number 10. Now it's going to be a wide-open battle throughout the mid-pack. Take a ride on board with Carter Casey as he's right in the middle of things. It's a 4-car bundle, just ahead of Carter Casey right now. Connor Asbell is going to be the man who is the caboose of it all, while leading it is going to be Jackson Van Pelt. He's certainly got a load of trouble and a load of pressure right behind him. He's got Henry Kaloff, Kenneth Gorell, and now Henry going to drop down to the bottom side, taking it down almost to the apron, but to no avail. And Henry going to have to slot back in yet again, and while he does relent for the time being, he's showing signs of trying to make that move at all costs. Now, I'm sure that Henry doesn't want to wreck the driver just ahead of him. That's not the way Henry tends to race, but it more so comes down to trying to get back up to the position where he was before. And he most likely believes he was rightfully up in front inside the top 5 and is looking to continue that success. Where he was before is where he should be again as Connor Asmo gets loose. Number 57 is now going to get a little bit further back, and as he bobbles, here comes the AC Delco number 8 of Carter Casey. Casey now going to work down low to the inside, trying to make the move for 7th here. Carter is now going to have a little bit more room to maybe go for it, but Connor recollects himself well, and as such, single file is how they remain up in front. And even now, further on back, it looks like the majority of the field has stayed quite calm tonight. Only one incident, which involved Matthew Fastnot. It looks like Chris Tripp is going to end up disconnecting as your first retiree on the night, but nevertheless, the rest of the field remains exactly as they've been. Matthew is 2 laps down. Chris Tripp has retired from this race early and is multiple laps down at that, but for the time being, it's all about what happens next, and that could be a battle inside the top 5 if Henry Kaloff keeps on going, trying to now dig right under Jackson Van Pelt. Can't quite get there, and it looks like he'll have to keep waiting and working the line in, trying to build something and get that groove developed. Bottom side preferable for most drivers. Jordan Kuntz is the one man so far who's made it a little bit differently and decided to go up top. For Premier Concrete Solutions, Jordan Kuntz has done it great so far, bringing success again to the 99 team, which was a definite anyway, but with a win so far to open the season at our club and maybe another one tonight, it'll be a great way to keep the success rolling for the brand new independent driver on the grid. 99 right now of Jordan Kuntz hanging tough in that leading spot. And since we're about halfway through, we'd like to mention, of course, our brand new sponsor for tonight's race, hopping aboard to help out the entirety of the Saturday Night Thunder League, both in this race and the season henceforth. And that's going to be the title sponsor of tonight's race. And of course, you might know them now, Refined Engineering. Refined Engineering coming on for their very first race as a sponsor this season, and for the very first time making their way into FTN's landscape, we talk often about drivers and what they need to succeed. Coaching and setup building often comes to top of mind, and tonight, with the help of Refined Engineering, our setup is fantastic here at Kern County. Nobody seems to be struggling, every groove is viable, and everyone has been able to perform to the best of their ability. Refined Coaching provides their driver coaching, setup building, and it's made exactly for your needs. Tailor-made for drivers and leagues alike. Check out Refined Engineering on the iRacing market. We'd love to have you, of course, check them out and join the fun here on SNT. They helped us out in bringing this race to you, and we hope you help them out in bringing more business to their team. Refined Engineering, once again, the title sponsor of tonight's race, and we thank them for stopping aboard to SNT competition and helping us out now as we are more than 80 laps into the mix with 71 laps remaining. Scott Erickson right now going to be battling again with Dana Van Meter. Let's take a look on now with the number 50 of Erickson. Looks like now Scott can have the number 27 to his inside, cutting to the bottom here. Dana takes it all the way down, dropping low, while Scott decides to use that third groove of 4, and you can see up to the higher dotted lines. Dana has it all the way down by the paint, and this is what we mentioned by multi-groove. Front of the field, back of the field. Everyone has an opportunity to do things exactly to their liking, and it looks like right now, even though Scott Erickson almost appeared to be in jeopardy of losing that spot, well, he pulled it back together, and now he's able to get things moving, even with the scrapes he's got. He is in 11th, and maybe will move up to rookie Aaron Sire. Aaron's very first race here in SNT, and how about a top 10 to come home with on debut, which would be a great effort if, of course, the number 73 holds fort. And I have no doubts now that as long as he stays up and in front of the number 50 of Erickson, maybe he's got a chance to make it up there. The single digits. Dylan Wheeler will be the next man he'd have to face up against, and Dylan overall hasn't quite gotten anywhere. He finds himself in 9th, and while he has some scrapes and some damage, it's a good thing for him anyway to remain in those single digits as Carter Casey holds fort, hanging tough here with Connor Asbell. Connor's going to be in now 7th, and I believe that's been the highest spot he's run all night long. That it is. He started in 13th, and he's the hard charger up into 7th now, as Kenneth Gurrell is just ahead, who started in 2nd and has fallen back 4 positions here in 6th. So far, Kenneth hasn't quite been able to make much of it in this run, but he stayed in 6th and just outside the top 5. Take a lap on board now with the number 57, as he has his eyes on the battle between Kenneth Gurrell and just ahead of him, Henry Kaloff and Jackson Van Pelt. While Kenneth has a nice view on the battle ahead of him, I'm sure he'd love to be right in the mix of it. You can see, overall, staying in 4th gear for the majority, if not the entirety of the lap, and deciding not to kick it down into 3rd. I'm certain now, anyway, that some drivers are working it in the 3rd gear, however, the majority of which have decided to keep it on just 1 gear tonight, and I think Henry Kaloff in the 63 is one of which. 63 laps to go with Jackson Van Pelt just ahead. This is the battle for 4th, and the gap has slightly decreased between these two drivers. Check out the driver-to-driver gaps right now, and overall, you can see the biggest advantage is going to be between drivers further on back, like Dana Van Meter, 4 seconds ahead of Tyler Sever, whereas right now, Vinny Tigner only 2/10 behind Jordan Kuntz, and Henry Kaloff only 1/4 of a second behind on Jackson Van Pelt. All together now, these drivers in the middle of the field still remain a nice bunch. The front runners, 1st and 2nd at least, are close, and maybe Alec Daffin now is pulling his weight to get back in the race-leading fight. He's up to 3rd, and it looks like in the last 4 laps, he is gotten up 1/10.5 on Jordan Kuntz. Maybe Jordan faltering fair the very first time. Let's see what happens now. Vinny Tigner was gaining in that previous run, but did not have enough time to develop the run enough to make it back up in front. But it looks like now Kuntz might be seeing the 99 fall out of favor. Alec Daffin has definitely gotten closer, and you can see Vinny Tigner, he's there as well. We are coming up on the lapper of Matthew Fastnaught, and that's the 09. Up to the top side, he'll get away quickly, doesn't decide to impede upon the leaders, and Matthew going to give room to Vinny Tigner as he did to Jordan Kuntz. And Alec Daffin, now in the mix in his own right, well, he just made it through as well. Alec Daffin might just be the 2nd best short track racer in SNT history, maybe only behind Jordan Kuntz. The battles he's had with Jordan have been iconic week in, week out throughout the season, no matter what track we go to, but one of the best ever finishes that came in this series, Season 5 of the Truck Series, Richmond, toe-to-toe. It was Jordan Kuntz and Alec Daffin, and ended up both sliding at the line. Daffin only bested by 2/10 of a second that day after a 50-plus lap final shootout between he and the defending champion at that time. Unfortunately, Daffin was not able to get the win, but he showed exactly what he's capable of doing and keeping himself with the all-time wins leader, although it just wasn't meant to be. Maybe now, with Daffin back with Shaw Racing, the effective factory team of this league, he's got a chance to pull himself back together with that team support, and maybe getting by league owner Vinny Tigner will be all he needs to put on a charge and mount it against the 99 of Jordan Kuntz. Notably further on back, the battles are still tight. Carter Casey now coming up and again on Connor Asbell. And 7th place remains one of the closest battles on the circuit. Carter Casey going about a groove lower here. Can't quite find anything of it. Connor Asbell going to be in 7th, and Kenneth Gurrell in 6th, with Henry Kaloff in 5th. Up in front, there is going to be 4th place, Jackson Van Pelt. The lead battle going to get closer and closer. Grouping up is in half a second between your top 3 drivers. Off the back end of Jordan Kuntz now, it's clear he's got pressure he's got to deal with. And now looks like Vinny Tigner to the bottom side, the closest he's been, getting it side by side for the first time in 40 laps. It's a 52 lap stint so far, and Jordan Kuntz, he was trying to get the short run out of it, while Vinny Tigner is now playing the long game. Waited, gave Jordan room to run away, and it looks like things have changed because Alec Daffin now cuts to the inside, going low. There's the 44. Alec Daffin has made his way through only to get loose, and now he's back to third, and he mounted the charge only to immediately disengage. It's back in Vinny Tigner's hands now, and that perhaps is the biggest chance Alec has had to go for the race lead all race long. He just gave it away. Now it's going to be Vinny Tigner back full on with aggression. And we'll see what he does next here. The number 12 machine going to find himself now, once again, the sole driver in second place. Alec going to give him a little bit more breathing room. Not by choice. He really tried to push it out there and get that second spot, but wasn't quite able to. And now the number 12 runs alone in the runner-up position. Vinny would be going for his second win of the year, his first of the season here, with Jordan Kuntz just ahead. And Jordan right now looking for his 7th of the year and the 2nd of this season's campaign in only 3 races. Vinny stays right behind, 18/100ths of a second. That's the gap between he and Jordan Kuntz here, and Alec Daffin once again getting closer to Tigner as Tigner tries to get a little bit closer to the man up ahead in Jordan Kuntz. Further on back, the battles remain tight, but really no moves made, no passes have been fully executed, and so drivers remain together rather than making any significant passes. The action has been very limited. 47 laps to go this time by. A little bit of maybe bumper-to-bumper action now for Alec Daffin getting up to Vinny Tigner here. He got very close that time by, but still hasn't gotten there. Up top, he'll go to the second groove, trying to get a better arc out of the corner than anything else, but the momentum down the back straightaway doesn't quite carry him. One driver just went down to pit road. That is Kenneth Gorell, and so the number 57 machine is going to make it to the inside, and so he goes down to pit road. The first green flag pit stop of the day, not for damage or a race retirement. This could signal more drivers in within the coming 10 to 15 or even 20 some laps. If a pit stop is still necessary, you'll see the leaders come in hopefully very soon. Of course, they don't want to end up running out of fuel tonight, and it looks like Vinny Tigner now, he is running out of patience. He'll look to the low side. There goes the number 12. Can't get it there. Now he's going to have to back off down the back straightaway and wait for another chance into the corners. Alec Daffin is going to be watching, and as he waits in the wings here, he'll hope that Vinny Tigner can do the damage and maybe get him up there in the mix as well. Vinny doesn't get it that time by. Gonna have to wait again. All the while, Jordan Kuntz is gonna be your race leader once more. How about we take a ride now with Vinny Tigner and see what he does? He'll cut down to the inside, right down low. The 99 machine has no choice but to defend on the top side, the only room that he's got. Working it into 4th gear at a speed of now 120 miles an hour as he backs it down into turns 1 and 2. Stays in 4th gear at a rev of 4,000 revs a minute. Very low and not enough power necessary for these corners compared to other short tracks here. Now toe-to-toe with Jordan Kuntz. It looks like the 99's got to admit it. He's running out of steam. 60-plus laps on this run, and all of a sudden, Vinny Tigner now cutting to the inside and making it look easier than ever before. Tigner not going to be breaking a sweat yet, but Jordan Kuntz is in trouble with 41 laps remaining. Meanwhile, Alec Daffin is gaining on the both of these drivers, and you can see waiting in the wings, here comes the 48. He's going to try to stick his head in as the third wheel in the battle for the lead. Kuntz is still going to have that advantage up top, and that's the thing that's been saving him. He ran the top side to get around Vinny Tigner before, so he knows what it takes to defend and put a little bit more power down if necessary. And while Vinny Tigner might have a little bit fresher set of tire now, the way he's been running, it doesn't mean he's got the clear-cut ability to make the pass. Advantage? Yes. Alec Daffin to the wall? Also yes, but he still stays with these two drivers here, and it looks like that will not undermine his chances to get up to the race lead. 3 drivers drivers wrapped now under a blanket. The gap from first to second place, 1/10 of a second less than that. Now it's going to be Alec Daffin first to third, making it a full 10th between the podium. And Vinny Tigner hangs tough on the bottom. Alec Daffin now going to be right up top with Jordan Kuntz, and he might be able to push that 99 out and in front, which would not only help Kuntz, but also help Daffin side by side for the runner-up position. Both drivers up top are going to falter and give more space to Vinny Tigner, but Tigner's not done yet. Can't quite stick it there on Jordan Kuntz, and so the number 99 now is almost a car length ahead and nearly clear. Can't quite get it though, and through the middle of the corner, Tigner now is sliding back. Despite the fact Daffin might have some damage from banging up the wall a lap or two ago, now he's in the picture to try to take the second spot away outright. He slid about 25 laps back, and now very recently getting up into the wall and damaging the right side, but it looks like he is not done fighting for the win, and tonight, Daffin will not be denied. Here comes Alec now switching down to the bottom side, 2x2. This time the 48 machine going to be running up against the 99, and Alec Daffin is now the sole driver in second place. Vinny Tigner now going to cut under the two drivers running up in first and second as Vinny looks for the runner-up spot again, but he can't quite get there, and so Alec holds the advantage over the number 12, and Jordan Kuntz now has to let Alec go right under, but it looks like Jordan has been able to make that middle side the best part of the track. Now Alec Daffin going to lunge deep into turns 3 and 4. They'll be side by side across the stripe coming up to the lapper of Michael Deitch. Lap driver might play a role in how these drivers approach the rest of this one. As Daffin slides up a little bit higher, he has to cut out of the gas and maybe make the move with a more acute angle, making his way off the corner. And you can see there, he had to almost readjust his line fully, then put the power down, which slowed him down ever so slightly, but did not lose him side by side status. Daffin not going to make a mistake there, but Jordan Kuntz wiggles just a bit, only for Daffin to go through 1 and 2 a little bit more rough, but it's not enough to shake the number 48. Michael Deitch is going to get closer and closer into this battle here, and you can see off the back end of the 17, side by side, they remain up in front, and it looks like now they're getting even closer to the 17 team. He'll have to move out the way as soon as possible. Daffin now going to get loose in second, not going to remain double file, and instead drops ever so slightly back. Michael Deitch is still going to be just ahead of all these leaders, and you might remember what happened at a short track last season with Michael Deitch getting involved with Jordan Kuntz when he was the leader. We would not like to see a repeat of that, but I'm sure Alec Daffin right now, by any means, would love to find a way around the 99. Daffin is going to see Michael Deitch go under, and it's going to be no fight from the lapper, instead letting the lead lap drivers get away with 29 laps to go. It's their track now, and nobody else is trying to use it. It looks like Jordan Kuntz single file again in a really good position now to try and pull away. 75 plus lap run, side by side now. Connor Asbell is going to be with Jackson Van Pelt. And across the line they go. 28 laps remaining here. It looks like the bottom side going to be occupied by Van Pelt, and the position is taken by Connor Asbell. Middle groove might be the best position not only for defense but passing tonight. While most drivers seem to be comfortable on the bottom side, we're seeing a lot of success from those drivers who have decided to take it up top. And yet again, another example there. Can't quite make it work. Now Dylan Wheeler going to be side by side there with Jackson Van Pelt while Connor Asbell gets away. Door banging side by side. The 07 going to be up top, and now Wheeler down on the bottom. Gap between the two drivers, 13 thousandths of a second at the stripe, and it looks like now Wheeler going to be cut low. Doesn't quite have himself out of line just yet. Jackson Van Pelt trying to not shake him up fully. 2 by 2. We've seen it all throughout the field from front to back, and Wheeler makes the position his own. That's Dylan up to 7th here with 25 final laps, and now it's going to be Alec Daffin running down the back straightaway alone in second here, but once again the number 99 is up and ahead, still has the race lead. Jordan Kuntz looking for 2 wins in 3 races to come back to his prime form. 24 laps remaining. It looks like now Jordan Kuntz getting that further advantage after finding pressure in the middle of the run. Maybe instead of wearing himself out at the tail end, Kuntz instead plays the longest of long games, and it looks like he was able to fend well enough. Now he's got the track all to his own. With 22 laps to go this time by, Jordan Kuntz defies the odds, and TrackCams22.com defies the expectations of what's possible with iRacing cameras. Visit TrackCams22.com after tonight's broadcast for iRacing's leading camera packages, as we're going to take it, cranking it up, and getting loud with 22 laps remaining here in the Refined Engineering 150. Now with a total of 15 laps remaining, the back half of the field has the most intense fight. Kenneth Gurrell going to be going down to the inside on Scott Erickson. This position, it's going to be passing for 10th. Now to the inside, there goes Kenneth. Looks like he makes the move rather quickly, and that gets him back inside the top 10 with Scott Erickson now on a younger rubber facing the setbacks. Kenneth Gurrell going to be the only driver who's decided to go for the 31-lap stint. He's been on now for quite some time, rather than 85 plus laps. And it looks like the number 50, he's going to face the setback there. Tyler Sevier with Aaron Sire, and it looks like Aaron a little bit loose, but he stays together. He doesn't quite have a problem with keeping himself together there. The number 73 keeping himself down the back straightaway instead, right intact. Luckily, no damage, but tires may be beginning to squeal in what will be overall a 100-plus lap run to get to the very end. And that's the game that's been played for these drivers. They went down a pit road up in the front of the field. Of course, they went going down a pit road early. Lap number 50. Kenneth Gurrell didn't really find any track position gain from that, and now he's there in 10th position. Actually trying to make a little bit more time up to get up to 9th place in Dana Van Meter, and we will see whether or not he can make that move to get up into the single digits. There's still a lot of time for him to climb up there, but he has to make up that time very quick. And now comes the leaders on the lappers. 11 laps to go here. This is what it's all about. Alec Daffin and Jordan Kuntz might not be battling for the lead any longer, but they are the two closest drivers. And if it is going to be anyone but the 99, it looks like the 48 of Kuntz, or vice versa anyway. Those two will be going at it. It's either or. Lappers still continue to fight here. Aaron Sire there with Scott Erickson, and Erickson is rapidly declining. Here comes the number 50 dropping to the inside, and it looks like now the number 73 Well, he makes the move. That's going to get him up into 12th, and now Tyler Sevier with both drivers behind might have to keep in mind what's up next. Gap between these two drivers, Kuntz and Daffin, is now shuttered. It's now going to be dead even. Side by side, Alec Daffin down to the inside line with 8 laps to go. Daffin just made up 0.3 of a second in only a lap, it appeared. And you can see there, the gap has gone so close that it's now going to be less than a 1/10 through the corners. 17/100ths of a second that time around, and Daffin has made the distance disappear. Let's see what happens here at the stripe. Alec Daffin does lose a little bit of time, but he's making it through the minefield, and he's going to be following Jordan Kuntz all the way through. Now Kuntz is going to be in the hot seat, and for the first time all night long, Daffin is going to be alone making a charge. Let's see whether or not that number 48 has enough time. He's been waiting oh so long to make something happen for himself, and it looks like this season he's got a chance to rebound rather early. Looking low on Jordan Kuntz, side by side now as they make it into the back straightaway again. Daffin is low, and he might just have the edge into turn 3. Cutting low, gears not shifting, but they're going to be turning it down all the way to 80 some miles an hour. Kuntz still just slightly getting off better. 5 laps remaining. Daffin's going to try to play clean. Does not want to end up in any early contact this season that causes trouble. The former teammates have done this many times before, and they're looking to do it again. Now Kuntz is going to have to let Alec Daffin have the lane on the bottom. Whether or not he likes it, it looks like he's got to give in at least a little bit. Now the 99 machine of Kuntz sees the issue and gets up ahead, single file once more. Alec Daffin going to get a much nicer run off the back straightaway. Look at the high power he's got down there. Looking good enough to head down to the bottom while Kuntz goes right with. And even still, 3 laps to go. This time by, Alec Daffin remains within a car length of that of Jordan Kuntz, and that's how they'll remain. One more lapper might get in the mix, and if you look a little bit further back, that will be Tyler Sevier in the number 77. Whether or not he is involved will be determined here, but Daffin will not quit fighting. 148 laps into this race, and it looks like he's not done yet. Popsicle sticks, 2 laps to go. We've come down to the last of the crooked numbers here, and Alec Daffin might not be afraid any longer to put the bumper in and change up the style of racing with only 1 lap left here. When we get to the white flag, this race will be official, and Alec Daffin's got a shot now to go for racing for the win. White flag's out. Jordan Kuntz looking for his 2nd victory this season. Daffin looking for his 1st. He'll take it up much higher through the opening of the corner into 1 and now race down the back straight. If Daffin sends it deep, that's the best shot he has. Takes it as deep as he can and just barely misses the back end of the 99. Jordan Kuntz comes across the line and wins in Kern County, his 2nd of the season, as Alec Daffin comes home 2nd again to the all-time race win leader. Kuntz comes home on top, leading a total of 137 laps on the day of 150. From the pole, Kuntz dominates at the short track, and what a way to win it, defying the best of the field to come out on top. Jordan Kuntz will collect the checkered flag tonight, winning over the rest of the pack. And take a look at your official race results. It'll be Kuntz over Alec Daffin in 2nd, Henry Kaloff is going to be 4th to Vinny Tigner's 3rd, and Carter Casey rounds out the top 5, rebounding when all is said and done. It'll be 6th in Connor Asbell and 7th in Dylan Wheeler, with Kenneth Garrell 8th, Dana Van Meter 9th, and Jackson Van Pelt concluding the top 10. Stay tuned for top 3 interviews, as 11th today is Tyler Sevier. Last man on the top 10, he wasn't, but the last man on the lead lap, yes he was. 1 lap down, rookie Aaron Sire with Scott Erickson 13th, Michael Deitch in 14th, Matthew Fastnaught in 15th, and Chris Tripp 16th and last of those who raced tonight. It looks like Jordan Kuntz at a standstill here at the start-finish line, and his celebration for race victory doesn't look like he's gotten the burnout started, but nevertheless, reason to celebrate as he dominates tonight and comes home with the race win. Jordan Kuntz, 2nd time he's won this season, and his 7th of the year. The first time we went to Kern County, let it be known, Jordan Kuntz won an SNT. Looks like now top three drivers are ready for comment, so let's get a word first off from your race winner, the 99 of Jordan Kuntz, who tonight
We all three were battling.
led nearly flag to flag. Jordan Kuntz, what a race that was. It looks like you were inside the top three all night long, had a little bit of trouble maybe in the middle stages with some very close battling indeed, but you came out on top again, and you reigned supreme with your second win on the season. How does it feel?
It feels great considering definitely what happened this race. To me, it was very similar to what happened at Atlanta, leading, killed the tires a bit too much in the middle stint, and definitely I learned from last week to save and not kill them more, and definitely worked out. I had to back up Alec and Vinny a bit in the middle part of the last stint, and definitely worked out. I knew the outside was strong. I didn't know it that strong, and once I figured that out, I knew it'd be very hard to pass whenever Alec or Vinny caught up later in the run and played out just how I thought.
And I think we all noticed there that middle stint maybe a little bit more troublesome for you as you were able to come forth, get the checkered flag. Learning from Atlanta, you mentioned, and tire saving has oftentimes been one of the biggest deals for your team. Tonight, it looks like it played once again into the biggest, most important sector of the race. Working with two of the best drivers alongside you in the field, it definitely wasn't easy to hold off Daffin and Vinny. So what did you do to sort of save your tires up when they were already burnt?
So last week in Atlanta, I knew I had really good tire wear for like 20, 30 laps, and then after that, I would just start burning them and putting more heat into the tire than what was necessary, or asking more out of them than they could afford, than they could give. And so this week, whenever the same thing started happening with the tires falling off, I just started banking it up, not taking the corners, entries as hard, and maybe not going full throttle down the straightaway sometimes, or not even getting to full throttle really late into the straightaway. And I think that definitely helped save the tire heat, and ultimately saved my race.
And able to save the race at the end of day here tonight, starting inside the top three, making it up to the front of the field. Victory lane again is yours. Second win on the season, Jordan. And it looks like the consistency hanging tough in the opening portion. We saw last season you won two of the first three races as well, so a good start. And your seventh win of the year. Looks like the pace is still there as we head back to a more familiar circuit. Texas for 100 laps of racing. When we go to the Lone Star State, how will you feel, of course, heading back to the intermediates?
I definitely think Texas is a bit of a stronger track for me. I've always done a bit better there than normal, than or other 1.5 miles like Atlanta last week. So I think I should have the pace to challenge for the win, and just going to give it my all in the Premier Concrete Solutions Chevy 99, and hope to get the third win of the season.
Brand new paint scheme, same results. Jordan Kuntz, second win on the season here. If you have any final shout outs you'd like to give, the floor is yours.
I'd like to thank everyone in this league. It was a really fun race. They all raced really clean. Of course, only had 2 cautions, so that's always great to see at a short track to have very low caution count. And got to give thanks to Vinny and Carter for putting this league on and having this amazing race. And I'd like to shout out Tony Wilton for giving me this opportunity to put this Premier Concrete Solutions 99 in victory lane, and hope to continue the results in these races into the future.
Hoping to keep that success going. Well, to kick off this season, 3 races, 2 wins. Jordan Kuntz, points leader even still, and the checkered flag is yours tonight in Bakersfield. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
So Jordan Kuntz back on the way. Second tonight for Shaw Racing. Best finish so far. Daffin back on the podium and keeping this much better start up to the season. Back on the top 3, Alec. How are you feeling? Second place here from Kern County.
Worn out. It's definitely hard to drive out there. Definitely hard to drive out there tonight, much like last week, for except much smaller track. But yeah, man, Jordan and Vinny, they were very fast. Top us 3, we were class in the field, pulled away by a lot there at the end. But yeah, I just burned my stuff up trying to get on Vinny, and then got beside Jordan a couple times and just got loose on the bomb and couldn't really stay beside him there. But yeah, second again. What else is new? I think we had the fastest car. Seemed like we did, much like 5 flags last season. kind of saved the tires in the second half of the race, and then got to Jordan, just couldn't get around, and then sent in a 3 at the end there, just tried to get as close to him as I could. Tried everything I could, but just nothing doing. But yeah, another good run. I mean, it's better than to be on the tow truck, but when you're fast, you want to get one. So, but hey, I mean, like I said, we've been fast. I mean, we're gonna get one this season. So it didn't happen last season, but we'll break through eventually.
And you mentioned, of course, getting through with that speed to kick off the season tonight came down to tires. Jordan Kuntz told us all about it, and it looks like you're agreeing with that. Burning up the tires, even though it wasn't really a warm track, it still happened in those long runs, and we went 103 laps there on that final stint. So what was it like for you, of course, trying to make things work out, even though you had a lot of time in those tires to burn them in, and you overall saved them better than almost everyone else?
Restart, got clear for third. I kind of tried to stay with Jordan and Vinny for the first 2 or 3 laps, but I saw them battle and I knew I wasn't gonna get around them. So at that point I figured I'll just kind of just try to hang back, save some tires because I had a gap to the guys behind me. And I did that, stayed with in probably about a second or so. And yeah, and then I started making inroads on them, and then obviously I caught them and they're side by side again and battled hard on the outside for several laps. Got around Vinny, and then like I said, then I got beside Jordan on the inside. Just burned up the tires at that point. But it was a balancing act, like most things. Just trying to battle those guys, try to save the tires also. And I guess at the end we got one of them, didn't get the other. So I guess we kind of broke even. But yeah.
Well, it looks like breaking even tonight. You find yourself now second in the championship standings and still very close in a fierce fight to kick off the season. Up next going to be Texas, a track you've went to many a time in this series before. How are you feeling about your chances heading back into Texas again?
Texas is one of my best tracks. In recent builds, like in the last year or so, I think my performance has fallen off a little bit. But I mean, I'm still pretty fast there. And see what kind of setup we get. But I know last time, I think it was last time we raced in this league, I got the pole and finished second, if I remember correctly. So you can just repeat that performance and maybe try and do a little better. If things go our way, think we can definitely have a shot at. I mean, we're fast every week. I mean, like last season, like we were faster at the start of the season too. We just either got caught in wrecks or did stupid shit where speeding on pit road or wrecking or whatever. So yeah, if we can just keep doing what we're doing this season with speed and trying to finish races and not make mistakes, I think we'll definitely be in the hunt for the win.
And keeping yourself in the hunt tonight, Alec Daffin, another top 3 finish, a second at that here in Kern County. You have any final shout-outs you'd like to give? We'd love to hear it.
Thanks to Cameron Ferris and Shaw Racing. Thank you for doing the broadcast. Carter and Van for phoning on the league. Got the Team Chevy. Twitch viewers at Alec Daffin 48. And yeah.
There we have it. Alec Daffin getting to second place tonight here in Bakersfield, California. We thank you for your time.
Thank you, sir.
Alec going to be on the move, and the final driver we'll speak to is the number 12 of Vinny Tigner. Coming out on the podium, Vinny started from the pole position and held fort inside the top 3 until the job was done. Unfortunately, Vinny, maybe not the win you were hoping to get, but still a solid points result. What was it like out there in California?
Oh man, that was a ton of fun. I didn't really know what to expect here. I ran Kern once before in the Integrity League, and but there's nothing to compare it to. Just it was so loose there, but here it was totally different with a different setup, and um, I had a blast. I mean, these guys, to race around these guys and be in tow with these guys, it's just, I don't know. It's all I can ask for. And I thought I had Jordan, but I used up my right rear a little bit too much on the bottom, and he did everything he was supposed to do on the outside and making us work for it. And you know, he had the good exit every time. So I saw Alec coming, and I knew he was gonna be a tough one to beat. So I caused him a good a better chance at the win. I got a little squirrely a few times, and I think I tapped him maybe once or twice, and nearly wrecked him. So I felt bad for that because I should have just let him go and let him battle it out with Jordan, and while I sit there and cool off my tires and wait for a good opportunity to pounce. But that didn't work out. But happy with the third place, though. I can't complain.
And overall, able to make things happen here with that podium. You know, you're one of the few drivers who has experience with this car track combination. You're racing the Ignite series. It didn't go quite as well there as it did here tonight. You think that influenced maybe bringing us back to this track?
Yeah, I know Carter. He was the one that wanted to come here. He was, and I was all for it as soon as he said it. And after racing the Ignite race, it was just like I told him, it was so icy out there in that race that I just said we just can't do that. You know, we got to do something different. And he worked on the setup and he came up with everything. I didn't do anything to help out here. So this is all Carter, and I give him a lot of credit because I had a freaking blast out there, and I felt like we put on a pretty decent show. So again, I couldn't ask for anything more. Like that was awesome, and I hope everybody that was watching enjoyed that one.
And it looks like able to make something great happen of it, a podium finish here, and as it stands, third place and another very strong run to kick off your campaign. Vinny are now up to what we believe is going to be third in the championship standings. So Texas is up next. That's one of the more familiar circuits, and we talked to both the drivers who finished ahead of you. They're quite confident. How are you feeling about making the move in and going down south back to another circuit we've been to before?
Oh, I love that track. I'm very confident in that. So I'm ready. I know we have an off week next week, but when we come back, I'll certainly be ready to battle it out and maybe close one out here.
And maybe looking for that first win. Vinny, you gotten close so far this season to your second of the year and coming up just a little short yet again. Third on the day here from Kern County. If you have any final shout outs you'd like to give, we'd love to hear it.
Yeah, of course. I want to start with you. Thank you for everything you do for our league. You do an amazing job, so I appreciate that. And I want to shout out to Ken with Refined Engineering for sponsoring our race tonight. Really appreciate that. And thanks to anybody who tuned in to watch. Hopefully, they enjoy that.
And there we have it. Vinny Tigner coming through on the podium tonight in California. Once again, Vinny, we thank you for your time.
Thank you.
And so with Vinny on the move, you've heard from all your top three drivers today. Tigner coming home in third. Second place man going to be Alec Daffin, and Jordan Kuntz gets the job done again in the 99. His second win of the season, and it looks like no stranger to victory lane. He's found it once more. Up next on the schedule, going to be a more familiar circuit in mind. It's going to be Texas. We go all the way down to the Lone Star State yet again. It's been one of the best tracks intermediate-wise anyway. We've gone to an SNT competition, and we're excited to bring it back to you yet again in just a week's time. Same time, same place, as always, live on FTN. You've been watching coverage of Saturday Night Thunder action from the virtual Kern County Raceway for 150 miles, brought to you by Refined Engineering. I've been your host, David Kreutz, commentating and producing for tonight's event, and if you enjoyed, make sure to leave a like on the stream and subscribe to the channel. Your support is always greatly appreciated. If you'd like to join the SNT Racing fun, scan the QR code on your screen. It's a very, very exciting league to be in, and at that, it's free to enter. So visit the FTN Broadcasting Discord server for information about how to join the fun, and we'd love to see you on the track as well against the best on the iRacing platform. Thank you for tuning in to tonight's coverage of the Refined Engineering 150, and we hope you have a great night.